Well, by now, all of us know about the verdict for the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. But if you're anything like me, I still need someone to translate what exactly went down and what we can expect going forward. So, of course, I brought back Michael Mogensen, the Libra lawyer, a.k.a. my husband, to break it down for us. Hi, Michael. Fresh from the law firm. Look at him. Doesn't he look nice?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so tell us about what the verdict was and what it means.
Okay,
please.
So obviously, like we said, again, you said the verdict. There were actually two verdicts that were rendered.
That's why we have you here.
There was a verdict in each case. So, as you may recall, there was a case that Johnny Depp filed against Amber Heard, 3-count complaint, and in the complaint or the cause of action, he alleged there were 3 separate statements that defamed him and then met all the subsequent elements resulted in damages. Amber had a case against Johnny, also alleging 3 defamation claims. Those claims are interesting in that they were not direct statements from Johnny himself, and it was actually from an attorney. And the attorney made 3 different statements. They get attributed to Johnny Depp because the attorney is acting as a fiduciary for Johnny Depp when he made the statements.
Okay, so translation, any negative outcome for Johnny Depp was not even due to his own actions.
Correct.
It was due to the actions of his lawyer because the lawyer was acting on his behalf at the time.
Correct.
Some people are saying like, oh, see, Johnny Depp got something too. Like,
Johnny Depp
no,
got nothing.
he didn't. Okay.
And so the fact of the matter is, or I assume that Amber's going to appeal, I would say as a matter of course, if monies are to exchange hands. The money owed to Amber would not come from Johnny Depp, would come from the attorney's malpractice policy. So it wouldn't even come out of his pocket because he didn't actually utter the statement, even though it was on his behalf. So those were the counts, the two different causes of action, 6 total counts. The judge came out, everybody was waiting, and immediately called sidebar. Attorneys for both sides go up.
What's a sidebar?
When the judge calls the attorneys that are of record to the bench, they shut off all the sound on the recording device, and only the people can hear are right there at the bench.
Whoa. So who had to go up there?
The attorneys for both sides.
Camille Vasquez and Mr. Rottenborn? Or was it the lady with the short hair?
All 4 went.
All of them.
All 4 and the judge. And so immediately I was like, well, that's kind of weird. The judge would never do this. And then obviously there was a flaw in that the jury had not filled out the damages portion. So the instant they said that, I got on the phone, and you might recall I said, well, I think Johnny won because
somebody's paying something.
Somebody's getting damages, so they didn't get zeroed out. So with that, I was like, he won. Now it's a question, and that you might have even heard the judge say, it has to at least be $1, which we had discussed that I predicted Johnny Depp would prevail, and I thought that he would receive damages in the ballpark of $1 up to, I estimated the $7 million based on what he gave her in the divorce, and then she was in turn supposed to donate, but never did.
And if you guys would like that full breakdown where Michael really gets into the case, you can actually click the link below in the description box, which has the podcast episode that came out this week featuring Michael's full translation. The legality is all there. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, and so what I did was I made the prediction about what I thought might actually happen. Mm-hmm. And I thought that initially, I had told Britt when the case first came about, defamation's hard to win. I didn't think either side would prevail. I thought they'd get zeroed out. Each side would get to have their piece, and that would be the end of it. As it turns out, the case, as it was going, I changed my opinion, and I wanted to say that Johnny Depp was going to prevail, and that I thought he'd get in the ballpark of 1-7. Mm-hmm. And so what happened, as we all know.
What happened, Michael?
Johnny Depp prevailed on all 3 of his counts.
Woo!
And in each of those counts, because these, as you may recall from the other video, malice was required because they are both public figures. So the jury found, by a preponderance of the evidence, that she lied She lied about him. It was published, and she did so with the intent to hurt him. And based on that, they gave compensatory damages of $10 million, and they also awarded punitive damages of $5 million.
What are punitive damages?
I was just going to explain.
Oh, fantastic.
So compensatory damages are actual damages in an auto accident or something like that. It would be considered like the actual bills that are paid or the cost of repairing the car, the actual things that you get. So they're kind of...
So wait, I'm sorry. So what would the compensatory damages cover for like a case like this with Johnny Depp? Like,
I'm trying to explain it to you.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to help you stay down to earth, baby.
So... So
it's my show.
They're essentially saying that he lost roughly $10 million worth of work because of the defamation for her statements. Now, who knows whether that's just a number, and it's what they came up with. The punitive, that's just to punish. And the problem in states that are more conservative, like apparently Virginia has, in this case, the jury wanted to punish her. So they said the value of the case is $10 million, but this is so egregious that we're gonna give him 50% of that, another $5 million, just to punish her.
Woo!
That's significant. Now, the state of Virginia, I'm not licensed there, but it's my understanding they have a statutory cap on punitive damages at $350,000. So what that means is that $5 million is reduced down to $350,000. So roughly, he would win $10 million plus the $350,000 punitive damage for 10.35 is what he would get.
So question, so they just said $5 million just for like show?
No.
Just for like pomp and circumstance, even though because it's in Virginia, he can only get a maximum of $350,000 in punitive?
No. Different states have... in my mind, some really bad laws that cap damages people are allowed to recover. You're not told that as a juror because you are supposed to dispense justice. Mm-hmm. You are supposed to make the determination on what you believe to be correct. Now, they made that determination, $15 million. Now, unfortunately for Johnny Depp and a plaintiff who would win this in another case,
another state?
No, in the same state.
Really?
The state of Virginia has a law that caps all punitives. So any case you have in Virginia where you might get punitive damages, the government has already determined, well, we're not going to give more than $350,000. Nobody can be punished more than that, which is a ridiculous notion. So now we go to Amber. So Amber had 3 counts as well. Her counts related to the third-party statements made by the attorney. She took not on counts 1 and 3. On count 2, she actually did. They found that was a defamatory statement. That was a statement where the attorney was giving an interview, and in the interview, he went a little bit too far, and what he said was, she's making this up. It's a hoax. I don't think they were bad there. They said they called the police. The police showed up. Did not see any damage to property or to her face. I think he was still good there. And then he goes, but then they got together with their friends, threw some wine around the room with the assistance of an attorney and a publicist, got their stories together and called the police back. Now that's a whole lot of speculation and stuff that he couldn't prove, and that they found was going too far. So they tapped the attorney there, and the compensatory damages on that were $2 million with 0 punitives. So not enough to punish anybody, but $2 million, basically, in my mind, just giving her a bone to save face, to say that it wasn't a complete wash on her part. So the result is what's owed to him is $10,335,000. What is owed to her, and this again is pre-appeal, is $2 million with a net of $8,350,000. And when you and I talked about what the prediction I thought would be poetic justice, I thought around 7. And so if you look at what that number comes out to, that's the $7 million he could use to donate, and then still have 1.35 to put in his pocket. So the jury and I weren't too far off in our thinking, it turns out. And so I thought that was interesting. And then I did also, when we were talking about it in the bigger breakdown, there's a question about her finances, and a lot of questions have been, can she even pay that since she may not be in, she only made $1 million from Aquaman 1. The contract only pays her $2 million if she's still in it. And there's talk that who knows if she's going to still remain in it or not. Anyway, not a lot of money. And we talked about she may have to bankrupt it out if the appeals don't go her way. So interesting.
So what happens next?
Right. Well, next they would have statutory period of probably 14 days to file notices of appeal. I would expect Amber's team for sure to do that as a matter of course, because when you're hit with something that big, they're going to want to try to reduce it. They've already got the big reduction, the statutory one by the Virginia state law for the punies, but they're also going to want to try to attack the compensatory damages and try to get them lowered and fight and say that the jury had no basis to fine for that much.
So what could happen if Amber Heard's team decides to appeal? What happens when someone appeals?
Well,
is there another trial or
no,
what
the
happens?
trials are done.
Okay.
So the way an appeal works is you file a notice of appeal with the appellate court, and then once it is what's called docketed, the appellant, who is the person who is appealing, they will have a set amount of time to file their brief, making their allegations as to what they believe were legal fallacies or faults in the case. There could be, in this case, there's a lot of wild testimony. They could complain that there were various people that should have been excluded from testifying. They could have issue with rulings that the judge made on certain evidence being allowed in and certain evidence being excluded, all these various things. And so what they would be asking for would be a new trial, but highly doubtful that they would get that. On the other side, I don't know if Johnny Depp would want to appeal this. It's nominal. It really doesn't affect him since it's the attorney's situation. They might appeal the $2 million just as a matter of course, as well as a bargaining chip, because a lot of times if there are counterclaims like this and both parties get something they appeal, then they will just renegotiate the case as it goes on, and they actually come up with a settlement down the road.
Woo.
So that could happen. These guys dislike each other so much, don't know that would happen. So if they fight it out all the way to the end, appellate court gets a brief, then Johnny's team would brief back. Then there would be what's called oral argument, most likely, before the appellate court in Virginia. That court would either uphold the verdicts or make a ruling opposed to that. Assuming they uphold them, Amber's team then would probably try to appeal to the Supreme Court of Virginia, which would be the next level. If they are denied there, their last recourse would be to try to go to the United States Supreme Court, claiming that there was some constitutional violation, and I doubt there's anything there. But
Johnny Depp won't be pulled into another trial or have to deal with anything, even if she appeals. That'll be between Amber Heard and the court, or Amber Heard and the law, the government. Even if
there's also so many caveats in the law. There could be another trial if there is a basis, if evidence that shouldn't have been excluded was excluded, or if evidence that shouldn't have been included was included. And those are the kinds of things they're going to complain about. So if any of those things, the appellate court believed the trial court made a mistake, then theoretically there could be a weighing of that. That 3-panel court would then decide, or 3-judge panel would say, was the flaw by the trial court so much that these people were not given a fair trial? If that's the case, there is a long shot of long shots that they could have to get sent back for a new trial. I think the likelihood of that is very, 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 very remote. I think the likelihood of there being some reduction in the damages is far more likely. And I think that the jury has spoken, and this case is probably going to ride out and end the way it is. Not too far off of these numbers, though.
Okay. Well, Michael, thank you again for lending your legal mind to us here on the channel. Really appreciate it. I'm glad that it turned out the way that it did.
And I'm sorry that I speak really fast and it still took 18 minutes because there's just so much to talk about.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Be sure to leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about the outcome of the trial. What are your thoughts? Do you think that it all turned out the way that it was supposed to, or do you think something else should have happened? All right, you guys. Love you so much. See you here soon. Give him the kiss here. There we go.